Jay Thompson article from today, from April 1st. Okay. And he says, let's officially cancel April Fool's Day. Take yourself back to the beginning of the year. You would have laughed if someone told you on January 1st that in the next 3 months, the stock market would see days worse than the crash of 1929. That over 3 million people would file for unemployment in 1 week. That was last week. We'll see what this week brings, of course. That Congress would pass a $2 trillion stimulus package, that Major League Baseball would be on hold, that the NCAA March Madness tournament is canceled. That really still upsets me.
Yep.
And the Olympics are postponed. You would have shaken your head and said no way to over 750,000 people.
Or that we were stuck home having to teach our children school.
We were stuck home teaching kids, that we were doing all of this, and that we would be dealing with this disease at this rate. It is surreal to think about. And to think about, there's a debate going on in the real estate industry whether or not real estate agents provide essential services. So that was, and you can read all of Jay's article, but I want to get your take on it, Faye. Here in Connecticut, real estate is an essential service. It's like that in many states. And I believe right now, most states are deeming real estate essential. Yep. Is that a racket? Is that a good thing? What's your take?
I mean, I think it's a good thing. I mean, the real estate industry keeps everything going. So we're essential. You got to keep buying and selling houses. Obviously, we got to do it safely. You can't be doing open houses anymore like we used to in the past or anything like that. But absolutely, I think real estate's essential.
I'm of the belief that, yeah, absolutely, it should be essential because, like, I've got a client that's going on the market Friday of this week. They're in the Navy and they've already selected their home in another state. Their time is up here in Connecticut and they've got to make this move for their family. So without being able to transact in real estate, without real estate being essential, they wouldn't be able to make that move that they need to make. Now, I get it. Some military people are stuck where they are, but in this particular situation, they already bought the house previous down in Virginia. So they've got to sell here in Connecticut. And there are a lot of situations throughout the country, not just in Connecticut, obviously, where people have to engage in a real estate transaction because of where they are in their life. And if we're not there to help them, then they're not going to be able to get that done. They're not going to be able to move forward with their life.
Yeah.
The other part of this too is if we're following the guidelines, the safety guidelines that our government and the CDC has put forth, the social distancing, the 6 feet apart. It's really easy to do that in real estate. If you're showing a home that's empty and you're an agent and you're bringing a couple there, well, you've got 3 people. That's less than the 5 people gathering. And you can very easily stay outside of that 6-foot range. As you're showing a home, you can actually open the door, let that couple go view the home and have a conversation with them outside. Luckily, we're starting to break 50 degrees here in Connecticut. Who would have thought that was possible? So there are a lot of ways. And with the closing now, you can talk to us a little bit about the closings, the changes here, locally, which may not help everybody listening or watching this, but the closings have changed overnight. We've innovated and pivoted in a way I've never seen this industry do. And really, we're not harming anybody or anything by helping people get into the homes that they need to get into and ultimately close on these transactions.
Yeah. If you, like Byron, like I said, if you do it the right way, like if you do your social distancing, same with closings, like you said, no more real estates don't go to closings anymore. Like sometimes you go to these closings, there's 8 or 10 people in the closing. Now it's just the people signing, no one else. And you can even do them remotely now. So that Connecticut did pass that, I believe, last week, and they're finalizing a couple things this week about how you can do it remotely where you don't even have to go to the attorney's office. So Connecticut's trying to do things to keep everyone safe. But you're absolutely correct. You can follow the guidelines and do it all remotely, safely, and whatever you have to do to be safe.
I think with all that being said, though, too, obviously with all of the mortgage stuff that's going on, obviously all the stuff that's going on the closing end, I think it's more important than ever for us to be sort of that middleman, because so many of these clients are confused. They're in the middle of a transaction or they're even looking at a house. So again, I feel like it's more important than ever to have a realtor that is sort of up on the information so that you can be the liaison between getting the house that you want and then also actually being able to close it. I mean, again, I think that I'm even reaching out to co-broke saying like, hey, like, I'm not telling you what to do, but please go back to your mortgage companies and make sure that, the financing is still okay. Because we certainly don't want to be in a situation where a week before we're not able to close it, or, buyers obviously still want to make sure that nothing is going to change at their closing. What's going to happen? And obviously now that since we can't even sometimes be there, I feel like it's more important than ever for us to be sort of that, middleman to sort of deliver all of the information from all of the different, sectors of it.
And with that said, we'll link up a second Inman article that reads, Feds say residential real estate is an essential business. This is from Patrick Kearns, our buddy over there at Inman. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Cybersecurity, and Infrastructure Security Agency, there's a lot there, released an advisory list on which industries are essential to critical infrastructure, which deems the essential real estate industry essential. A lot of words, lots of words.
Builders are relying on us. Towns are relying on us. Mortgage people are relying. And I won't say us. I should say like the real estate industry. I mean, there's so many things that are sort of webbed off of, a real estate transaction, and it's imperative that it stays.
And like for us in Connecticut, to your point, there are so many things. Like you take a listing, right? And now, like for us, we usually do 5 standard things for every single listing, Buffet. We do professional photos, professional video, floor plan, aerials, and a professional write-up. All 5 of those are the base and the foundation before we even start our ads and our marketing campaigns, right?
Yep.
Well, professional photographies have been deemed non-essential. So while the real estate transaction has been protected and is essential, there are still a lot of people, a lot of vendors that support these transactions that are now out of luck. And so you're going to see quality of photography go down. You're going to see more 3D scans. We just did a 3D scan on 66 High Street, which I think was episode 112. We were in High Street. So let's go ahead and link that 3D scan up, give ourselves a little shout out for those of you. When we were in Unit 33 at High Street 2 weeks ago, I think it was episode 112, Nicole.
Yeah.
It was still unfinished. So if anybody's curious about taking a tour through that unit, we'll link that up here if you're on YouTube. Certainly if you're listening on the podcast.
That was certainly when things started to get a little bit more serious. I mean, that was our last together video.
We were distanced and
you're being safe.
We're being very safe.